Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Welcome to Series Sunday, where I read a book in a series or watch a TV series, or sometimes Sundays can be singing Sundays. But yeah, today I have got the Nicki French Frieda Klein series. So I've already done the Monday one quite a while ago, and now I've got the rest of them. So this one is Tuesday's Gone. Yes, this is a physical book. I feel like I haven't done one of these in a while. I'll just get straight into that blurb for you. When a decomposing body is found in the flat of Michelle Doyce, a woman who is plainly deranged, the police call in psychotherapist Frieda Klein. They need Frieda to help Michelle identify the corpse. But the name Frieda eventually uncovers is that of a master con man whose victims turn out to be as numerous as the possible motives for his murder. The police need Frieda to figure out who might be telling the truth or lying as they draw closer to identifying the killer. But someone is determined to silence her and will stop at nothing to do so. So the first book was Blue Monday, this one is Tuesday's Gone, and then it continues through the days of the week. I do all have them in this wardrobe behind me. We'll pop a link to my previous video about the Monday one, because there is a continuation of the Monday storyline in regards to mistaken identity, shall I say? I don't want to say too much without spoiling quite a lot of book number one, but where I thought there had been a case of mistaken identity by who was dead at the end of the first book, Frieda is now convinced of that mistaken identity. So I have a feeling this is something that's going to continue on, because it's not over. It's not over by any means.
That sounds dangerous.
But yeah, so in this book, Michelle, she's a woman who, there's a name for it, but I cannot remember the name for it off the top of my head, but she personifies things that really shouldn't be personified. When the decomposing body is found, you realise that Michelle thought that he was still alive, which is obviously quite incredible because of the fact that he was decomposing at that point. But then you later find out, like when she's admitted into hospital, that she also personifies like teddy bears. There's a teddy dog that she becomes convinced is a real dog, and there's another teddy bear that she also thinks is real. But yeah, it's a condition that she has, and they have to use that condition to find out what was going on. You do get a name for the person that was found in the flat. They find out that the people who would come across him seem to have lost quite a lot of money. He's described as like a charming man. I always get icked by the word charming, because I'm just like, nah, it doesn't sound right to me. If you say you're charming, you come across as a bit sleazy to me to say that somebody is charming. So he's described as somebody who is very empathetic and charming and is very good at manipulation. And they soon realise that the name that they have for this guy isn't right. And so it's just this big puzzle of trying to figure out who this guy actually is, and why it seems he was using somebody else's name, and who was angry enough with him to kill him. And through that you also have the continuation of the other storyline from book one, and just seeing it all come together. I mean, and it's not even completely over, because obviously there's a continuing storyline through all the books, apparently. So I'm going to be very, very intrigued as to where that goes. I feel like we're getting to know more about Frieda and her relationships and her family, because you find out a bit about her parents in this book, her relationship with her brother, and her relationship with her sister-in-law and her niece. And yeah, it's nice to get to know Frieda, because I feel like you didn't learn that much about her in the first book, and it's obviously through a series that's going to be, is it 8 books in total? Because you've got the full days of the week and then there's another one afterwards. So that's going to be really interesting, getting to know Frieda and seeing how all of her relationships work. But yeah, it's definitely edge of your seat stuff, trying to figure out what's going on. And the fact that I didn't even figure it out. I didn't, like, sometimes like I'll have like a little hint. I'll read something that'll give me an idea, but I really didn't see where it was going at all. Especially when they make a connection to the missing woman and they realise what's going to happen, and it was just like, how did I not see this coming? But yeah, so just trying to find the identity of this con man and finding out who really knew, because when they're talking to all the people that were victims of him, none of them really have a bad word to say about him. The only person who had any inkling that something was strange was a lawyer that was asked to draw up a will for an elderly woman where she was changing her will to include this guy and excluding the rest of her family. And that's when the lawyer was just like, this doesn't add up. That was her red flags going, saying, why is she changing her will to exclude her family and involve this guy who is just a bit strange? So really, I think the lawyer is the only one who really notices anything weird about him. But everybody else seems to be thinking that he was a nice guy, even though he wasn't like that great at his job, and he claimed to fix somebody's roof, but he didn't actually. He was helping somebody else with their garden, so he was like an odd jobs man. I finished this yesterday. I actually sat on the sofa reading it for like about an hour, and then before I knew it, it was time for me to leave to go to choir, and it was just like, where did that time go? But I literally just finished it just before I left. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I am so glad I decided to continue this. As I said before, it was watching Jen Campbell's videos, because as I said, I read Blue Monday ages ago. I wonder if I can see on here when it uploaded. March 2022 was when the Blue Monday video was uploaded. It was only after seeing Jen Campbell really fangirling over these books that I was just like, maybe I do need to continue the series. And I'm glad she told me to, because I really enjoyed Tuesday's Gone. It was just knowing that the continuation of the other story is still going on. You've still got the undercurrent of that previous storyline, and the fact that that has an effect on how she does her job. And the end of this book, just when you think, just had somebody talking about the elections at my door, because today is election day. I've already voted, so he was just like, well, thank you for voting, even if it wasn't for who he was trying to advertise to me. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, at the end of this book, the mistaken identity storyline is still going on, even though nobody really believes Frieda, but Frieda did share her theory with the man that's gone missing from the first book. She shared her theory with his wife, and the wife has actually come to terms with that and realised what's happening, but the police aren't really that fussed about it. Spoiler alert for book one if you have not read it. The mistaken identity has to do with twins, and they keep going on about the fact that twins share the same DNA, which is true, but none of them have mentioned the fact that twins do not have the same fingerprint. And so I'm wondering if that is going to come in as a factor throughout that undercurrent storyline, because it's true that twins do not have the same fingerprint. That is how twins can be identified, but it's obviously going to become a bigger part of the story going forward, so I'm very intrigued to see how that's done, basically, if the fingerprints are going to come into question at all, because yeah, they share the same DNA, so they can't be identified that way, but fingerprints can, so I'm hoping that that comes up at some point. Otherwise it's a big plot hole. It would be a big plot hole, because that would be one way to identify if the missing character has been in somebody's house. I'm just going to say that. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed seeing Frieda working with the police. It is interesting though, because for this book they do say that Frieda is going to come on and assist the police, but then by the end of the book they were just like, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to happen. But obviously there's more books to go through. It's just like, is she going to be unofficially partnering with the police from now on, or are they actually going to finally put her on the payroll, which they hinted to in this book but then changed their minds. So, but yeah, I'm very, very much enjoying this. 448 pages. There is also an excerpt of the next one in here waiting for Wednesday. That tagline is "Murder is all in the mind," so that'll be interesting. The tagline on this one is "The mind is a dangerous place to hide," which I think is mainly talking about Michelle, because there is so much stuff hidden in her mind with her disorder and everything, so it's them trying to extract the information from her even though they don't understand it. And they're not even sure if Michelle completely understands it, but Frieda is the only one who gives this woman a chance and actually tries to understand her, whereas the police are just there going, well, we dust our hands of this, and so Frieda, it feels like, is the only one really fighting for anybody. It does make you wonder about the trust in the police. When a lot of the time they are just trying to find a quick solve, when sometimes there might be more to it. And that's very much the case in these books. There's much more to it than the police want to admit to in these books, which is frustrating for us and for Frieda, which makes you more on Frieda's side. Yeah, I'm going to shut up now. I need to go make myself some lemon and ginger tea and get ready for my singing lesson. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. If you have any recommendations for books, please put it in the comments. I've noticed a couple of new subscribers, so hello. Thank you very much for joining. And yeah, I will see you on Wednesday with a regular video. Stay safe, everybody. I love you all. Goodbye. Mwah.